Hey, what's up, guys? Just want to make a quick video about the book I just published on Amazon. It's approximately 15,000 words, but I think it's a really valuable resource for young people or young individuals that are either in college or going through college or just entering their careers for the first time. So I just want to explain my journey about becoming an austerity millionaire. So I'll tell it more in detail in the book, but basically investing from the age of 22 to now, I've luckily been able to, achieve a, certain status, financial status, and I think it would have been really helpful if I had some guidance like this. I mean, it did take me a while. Currently, I'm 35, but I was able to achieve this from age 22, and again, I wasn't any recipient of inherited money. I started with a starting salary of 40,000, and it's just really important that I want to get this message across in a written form. So basically, my playbook as far as how I achieve my current net worth and the steps that you need to take. So I think it's information that it's not really available all in one source, and I really wish I had this type of guidance when I was starting out. But I did fairly have fairly a somewhat of a good idea as far as what I had to do. But I don't really suggest a lot of methods that I do see online. If you are trying to gain your wealth in an exponential way versus just putting it into an S&P fund, again, which is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you are fairly conservative with your investing, then it's going to take a much longer time, and it really also boils down to how much income you have and how much you save and how much you are willing to delay gratification. So delayed gratification is a big theme in this 15,000 word kind of short book. But it really is a battle between instant gratification and delayed gratification. And the more you save and the more you allocate into investments that can pay off in the long run, then that's what you have to do. And taking the extravagant vacations, having the entry level BMW, having all these type of luxury goods, even though they're not particularly justified, is something that you really have to control. And of course, in the meantime, it's important to maximize your income when you can. So, the more in control you are of your life with expenses and just gradually increase your income, taking some risk on your investments, again, that's totally up to you as far as what your risk profile is. But if you have a fairly high risk profile, then you can place some funds into investments that could pay off in the long term. And again, I have had mistakes in the past where I've lost large sums of money. So, for example, I lost 19,000 in a trade. I lost 22,000 in a bad investment that was, through a friend of mine. So I have made mistakes, but generally, picking investments that have some promise and that are either pre-IPO or post-IPO or are large companies that have a good revenue stream, but don't necessarily have positive, EPS or positive net income. It's not necessarily determined because a lot of these tech companies are still growing, and you need to identify, what kind of risks you have to take. But again, there's absolutely no reason to diversify your investments and place it into investments such as VTI, VOO, VGT. Vanguard has good products because they have low cost basis for their packages, their investment packages, investment vehicles. So again, absolutely nothing wrong with putting your money, your hard-earned money, to these kind of investments. But that goes in tandem with having a controlled budget, and of course, always trying to increase your income either through your salary or through automated means with other type of businesses. So you may have other streams of income, which is great. And I do talk about dividend investing. And again, it's just really based on your risk tolerance. But in the book, I describe things that you'll encounter while you're investing, and that you can't rely on the traditional metrics of investing if you are really trying to increase your net worth. So just take this as a grain of salt, but I think it's a really good guide. Again, I'm not tuning my own horn here, but I think it's a really good guide as far as if I was a young person, I really, I think, would have appreciated to have this kind of guide, and just help me walk through what I need to do to achieve a high net worth at a fairly relatively young age. But again, there are things that you have to consider if you are trying to have a family early, trying to marry early, have kids, and etc. Then it's going to be much harder. So your income will have to be much greater. Hopefully your spouse has a very large income, but again, I also talk about that a little bit in the ebook, stating how marriage is it's a risky endeavor. There's a chance that you may get divorced, have your assets split, alimony, child support, things like that. So just talk about that a little bit in the book, and just have to be really mindful. And of course, if everything works out ideally, I think it could be a good situation. However, that's not most of the case, and especially if you're marrying someone of a lower net worth. And again, just really depending upon which state you live in, it can be a massive deterrent to your goal to early retirement if you are marrying someone that could potentially ruin your finances from that standpoint. So it's fairly consistent with what I've written, but what I've produced as videos. But I think it's an overall good guide, and you're completely free to read the first few pages of it and on the Amazon preview. But I think it's a good guide, and hopefully you guys enjoy what's written in there. But it's just you can take a chance on it, read it. It did take me months and months and months to write. Of course, I was going back and forth on writing it, and revising it, seeking opinions on it, and so forth. So hopefully it brings some value, and I definitely think it'll bring over $10 of value if you're really new to investing and you don't know what you're doing really. But I think it'll give you a good guidance as far as investing if you're based in the United States. But whatever country you're in, you should have some kind of equivalent as far as the retirement planning goes for an IRA or a Roth IRA or a 401k or things like that. Go into a little bit with taxation and other topics related, buy limit, sell limit orders, things like that. So just take a chance on the book if you want to. Again, just absolutely no pressure to get it, but I think it's a really good guide if you're trying to get into investing and have it's a reference point as far as what you are trying to do as far as trying to approach early retirement or try to increase your net worth. So I really want to have some feedback on the piece. If you do purchase a copy, I'm happy to answer questions. You can reach me at my private email, alex@consistenteffort.com, and I'll be happy to answer questions. And remember, the book isn't tied with any official financial advice. It doesn't constitute financial advice. It's just a financial opinion from my experience and just my personal opinion. So if you really want to get into actual advising, then you should probably go with a certified financial advisor, planner, and or a CPA. But I'm just going to give the caveat that if you do go with the financial advisor, then they may charge you a management fee of up to 1%, which I think is kind of high. But again, just use your discretion and your own research. And again, this doesn't constitute financial advice. It's just opinion of someone that has achieved a certain amount of net worth. So anyways, thanks guys for listening, and stay tuned for the next video.